You have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something. Your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever.
Stay hungry.
Hungry. Foolish. Stay hungry. Stay foolish.
This is the eCommerce All-Stars podcast, brought to you with heart by Nadimo.com.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining today's podcast with your host Brandon Moscow, of course. And today I'm excited we have Avel Ureno. Hopefully I said that right. He's the co-founder, VP, and CTO of Batteries in a Flash. How are you doing today, Avel?
Doing great. Glad to be here.
Awesome. We spoke a couple of weeks ago. I reached out to you because I thought you had some pretty unique, what I like to call it is you're doing a unique job of setting up a niche, and you're competing in a fairly competitive market space with the battery industry. But I'd love it if you could kind of, circle back and just give us a little bit more of a background on yourself and how everything kind of got started for you.
Okay. So we actually started when I was young. We started at the swap meet selling 99-cent items. And one of the products we picked up were batteries, and batteries turned out to be one of our number one sellers in the market. Further along the line, we started to sell batteries on eBay, probably when I was in my 20s, and we were one of the first sellers of batteries on eBay. They were making a career out of it, and they did so well that kind of jump-started the company. And so that's where Batteries in a Flash kind of kicked off.
Yeah, I always like hearing when you start from seriously honest roots when you're talking about what would you call it? I was going to call it a flea market, but
the flea market, swap meets, yeah.
Yeah, I mean you started in the grind and selling batteries. That's kind of fun. Fun in regards to it's interesting that you see batteries everywhere. I mean, it must be. I mean, how do you differentiate yourself? I know a lot of the things that I liked about your site, for example, was just, having it differentiated in regards to, dog collar batteries and medical batteries and I forget what the other one was, vape batteries now, just little things, the coin cell batteries. I mean, I named a few there for you, but I also noticed that you're involved with Excel battery. And so I'd love it if you could explain a little bit more regarding Excel and your differentiation, nichifying, whatever you want to call it. Those are definitely not the right words, but I'd love to hear it in yours.
Right. The battery market defined us. Consumers wanted more powerful devices. They wanted portable devices. They wanted wireless devices. All those need batteries. And as the demand began for these different devices, so did the demand for the batteries. So it kind of guided us into which areas to get involved in. And then as the market became saturated, we then started to take matters in our own hands and start private labeling using the Excel battery. And what's great about Excel battery is Excel battery was a former vendor of ours when we first got started, and they sold these really rare, hard-to-find batteries, and they're the only one in the world that made these batteries. And so when the gentleman who owned the company originally wanted to get out of it, he sold it to us for pennies on the dollar. We then took over that line, started manufacturing in our warehouse in Las Vegas, but we also used the brand name to catapult us into specialty markets with the coin cells and the watch cells, and then into specialty custom packs and those types of niche markets. And so it's allowed us to no longer be a distributor of somebody else's batteries. So we are now a distributor of our own brand name in batteries. And so that's how we're able to get into these specialty markets. That's how we're able to define ourselves and to stay afloat. With the market becoming saturated by China distributors, they're kind of pushing out the everyday e-commerce seller. You can now get pretty much anything you want direct from China through services like AliExpress and Amazon or eBay, because the Chinese vendors, the manufacturers themselves, are now creating those accounts and selling here locally, as opposed to it being you or I who would open up an e-commerce store or a marketplace store and sell those batteries or sell those products direct to the customers. So we had to find a way to define ourselves and still be able to compete.
That's interesting. So that's actually interesting, and it's a scary thought for lots of people, especially people in the industry. It's like they may be buying their product in China and bringing it over, or that sort of thing. But then they start to worry because those same people who are selling them their product at a specific rate are then turning around and selling it to everybody at that same price point.
Right, and competing in the same marketplace side by side.
Exactly, which really makes it almost impossible to compete, but if you're competing on a basis of price. Now, you said something about manufacturing there in Las Vegas. Is that what you're doing? You're manufacturing Excel batteries in your manufacturing plant in Las Vegas? Did I hear you correct?
Yeah, so we have, at our facility, we have a small crew that builds probably upwards of 300 plus variations of battery packs and our specialty batteries that are, of course, all the, the cells are from China, but everything is assembled and created here. We also do specialty cables and stuff like that for battery configurations. So we offer, we offer a variety of options for anybody who needs specialty items as well, specialty battery packs.
Right on. And so that's been kind of your way to differentiate yourself and stand out. Are you still on the marketplaces? I'm just curious.
We are. We sell on eBay, Amazon, Walmart. We are now actually a partner with Lowe's, so all of our products, well, a good portion of our products are on Lowe's, Lowe's.com. So we're really excited about the opportunities that have presented themselves. And of course, we have, batteriesinaflash.com. And if you want to become a dealer and you can sell the Excel brand, you can sign up at excelbattery.com/dealer. And a lot of opportunities of trying to work with other people that want to get started in the industry.
Yeah, no, that sounds actually really good, and it's great for our listeners to hear because, you're selling something that's really unique and different, and you're also providing others that opportunity to leverage that as well, and in a sense, both do well together. That's really cool that you're on eBay, Amazon, Walmart, and you're on Lowe's. When you say Lowe's, you're talking about on the website, not physically in their stores? Correct.
On Lowe's.com, not in the stores.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to clarify that for people so that we're not talking, omni-channel delivery or that sort of thing. We're talking about reselling it through their store online, which is really, really fantastic. Good job for you on that. I mean, you've come a long ways from selling it, the swap meets to selling your products on Lowe's and Walmart and Amazon and eBay. I'd say probably the top 4 places you'd want to be. That's awesome. And I also noticed, one thing I really noticed is the sheer number of ratings. I think it's even all 5-star ratings. You got like 6,000 plus ratings. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but you mentioned just starting having that on your site like within the last year or so.
Yeah, that was an addition that we added to the site where people would be able to order a product, rate the product, rate the service, and so that we're understanding how our customers feel, and we get that direct feedback from the customer. And that's something we implemented at the beginning of this year.
That's interesting because the way you just described it is the way it should be used, which is getting that direct feedback from your customer so you can improve and provide a better service or product or whatever you have to do to keep them happy. But the flip side to that is the sales side, which is the side I always look at. And one of the biggest downfalls I think the average out there is about 70+% of people will go to a site, put products in the cart, and then abandon it. So that's like say if you were a store, for example, and you had 100 people come into your store in a day, 70 of those people will put product in a cart, and then they walk out of your store. It's a little different, obviously, online because it's more about the traffic volumes and all those types of things. But one of the biggest contributors to that is the lack of trust throughout the site and at the checkout. And I mean, you've got two things right up front, and everybody's three things actually. You've got your trust guard, you've got your ratings, which are absolutely critical to me. That shows people that you're welcoming reviews, and secondly, you're showing those reviews to people as a level of trust to say, hey, look, this is what people are saying about us. And then thirdly, and almost and so often missed, and I really want to commend you on this, having your phone number right in front and center on the website. Because people need, especially, I mean, if it's a Walmart store or, it's something that's very established, people don't feel like they're going to have to call, or they'll feel like they can get a hold of somebody if they need to. But when you're going to a different site that's not that first thought in your head, you want to see a phone number, and you have hours of operation that they can call that number, everything right there, so that people feel confident. And so, I mean, I would hazard to guess, and you probably, I mean, if it's wrong, it's wrong, but I'll bet you your abandoned cart rate isn't quite as high as well, let's put it this way, it's not going to be as high as it would if you didn't have those. I do have a question though. Did you notice a difference in your sales volumes or your abandon rate when you put those trust guards on, or the reviews specifically?
We did, and I don't have the specific percentage in front of us, but we did see an increase in the amount of engagement that our customers are giving us, and then an increase in the sales. So we found it to be very useful, and we actually have two forms of ways to review us on the site. We have shopper approved, or we have the Yapto review system. So whichever one they prefer to use, they're able to.
Right on. Yeah, you're doing so many things right. I mean, and that's why I wanted to have you on the show. And I mean, I commend you again. I mean, I've said that many times, but I mean, like I said, when we first talked, your first question for me is, well, what is it about batteries in a flush that, what makes you want to have me on the show? And I mean, the way you said it was very, you were basically testing me out to see if I was legit or if I was just throwing, that kind of thing. That's how I felt anyway. But I really did see some things that you were doing very well. And those are exactly the things I wanted to talk to you about today. You've done a very good job of articulating to everybody listening. So I thank you for your time on that. Was there anything else you wanted to say? Because I normally finish the show with any final words of wisdom and how people can get a hold of you, but I've kind of led with just questions, and I wasn't sure if there was anything else you wanted to add.
Yeah, actually, I would.
Okay.
I think as a small business owner, you feel overwhelmed on what to do, and especially in the e-commerce space. Well, in the internet, no matter what you're doing, it doesn't have to be e-commerce. It could be, blog writing or, whatever it is that you're trying to do. But, in e-commerce, it's very easy to feel overwhelmed and like, what should you do and how should you approach it? And the great thing is you can be a student of the internet. You have Google, you have YouTube that'll teach you how to do something or how to accomplish something. But then there's a more obvious step, and that is going and looking at your competitors, mainly your big box competitors. Like, if you're trying to understand, what trend or what thing you should be doing in e-commerce, look at a Lowe's.com or a Walmart and see how they're laying their pages out, see how they're placing their ads or how their search functionality works, because they're basically big brothers to us. They invest millions and millions of dollars into the psychology of how people think and how people are going to respond, what colors to use, all these different things. And it's like free training for a small business owner. You can look at that, adopt some of those ideas, and apply them and see if they work. And you can continually do this over and over and over until you find, the secret sauce that works for you. And so that, I think that's far overlooked, and that's one of the things that I have done as I've grown in e-commerce and as a business owner, is look at other people and how they're doing it and adapting some of those ideas to what we are doing to see if we're seeing an improvement or any gains.
Right. And I mean, by doing that, I'm sure there's been times you've seen drops as well. But
of course.
I think because the thing about that, and I've heard it time and time again, don't look at your competitors because you don't know how well they're doing. But the truth is, one thing that you just said, and I totally subscribe to the same philosophy, and that is, what are the big box players doing? Yes, they have a whole lot more money to throw at it, and that could mean two things, right? But the biggest piece that, to me, I take away from that is they are investing millions of dollars in making sure that their site is optimized to its best potential, and doing things like ratings or these types of things that I mean, ratings are so overlooked, and you see that on Amazon. It's one of the biggest features on Amazon. And like these types of things, and it's important. I totally agree with you to see what some of those big box stores, for example, are doing, and see how you can implement it as a small business owner. And you're right, it's essentially free training. Absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that, and I'm really glad I gave you an opportunity to speak out of just speak. So thanks.
Appreciate it.
I would like to cap it off, though, with any final words of wisdom. I think that was some really great advice. But of course, I would love to hear any final words of wisdom and how people can get a hold of you.
Getting a hold of us is easy. You can reach us at our 800 number, 800-515-2423, or you can visit our website, batteriesandaflash.com. And, my words of wisdom is really, and I wholeheartely believe this, is being a student of the Internet. I started out not knowing how to do anything, and I literally just sat down and focused on what I need to learn and went after that particular subject or topic and was able to accomplish it. And I think that, people get wrapped up in college, which is great. It's a great overview and things like that. But if you want to get there fast, the Internet provides those tools for you for free.
Yes. Well said. Being a student of the Internet, and it's all there. I mean, everything you need to know is there in one form or another, some in paid, some in unpaid advice or what have you. But like you said, I really love one of the things you just said is you focused on, you figured out what you needed to do, and you focused very hard on that one thing, because it's easy to get. The other problem with being a student of the Internet is there's no curriculum, right? And there's about a million people and a million voices out there trying to tell you what to do and that you should do it my way, and that's the best way and the only way. But you've got to kind of find your own way, and I think, like you said, focus on one thing and make that one work for you first, and then move on to the next.
Exactly.
Yeah, right on. Well, I really appreciate you being on the show, Abel. It was awesome. I think you really gave us some excellent advice and topics and tips and tricks and everything, and it has been a pleasure speaking with you today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being a guest on eCommerce All-Stars.
You have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something. Your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever.
Stay hungry.
Hungry. Foolish. Stay hungry. Stay foolish.
This is the eCommerce All-Stars podcast, brought to you with heart by Nadimo.com.